All right, so we're starting assignment 2, and you can find the assignment sheet in Canvas. And what it has, along with the assignment sheet, is a link to a Pokédex. But you can look for any kind of fantasy creature that you want to be inspired by at all. But what I like about these Pokemon is you have a vast collection of different silhouettes, some clean, some complicated, and they suggest different things. Some that are comedic, some which are just really, really epic, and there are just endless varieties, right? Like Guzzlord, I've never seen before. So things like that. So I've chosen 2 here, and I'm thinking that I want my fantasy creature to be kind of a mix of these 2 in little ways. Like kind of a pig-like, bat-like, platypus-like thing. But in order to understand how we're going to draw that, we're going to do this little extra credit project. So I want you to open up a fantasy creature in Photoshop, and then we are going to trace the basic shapes. So this is a way of getting used to kind of understanding how a character design works. And if you're interested in character design, which is something I've done a little work in and I've taught, it's good to find what you really enjoy, what you like. I'm just going to make the canvas a little bit bigger here so I have more room to work. Okay. And it's good to deconstruct the designs that you like so you understand how they're using proportion, whether they're human characters or not. So what I did is I got them from the Pokédex, just saved them to the desktop, and then I opened them with Photoshop. Then I went to Image Canvas Size to expand the canvas size around it. And then I'm going to put a transparent layer on top and trace the basic shapes. You can do this with any fantasy creature that you want to use as inspiration, Pokemon or not. But we're not just doing this to photos of animals. This has to be a fantasy creature. All right. So now to trace on top, I have a blank layer. I'm going to use blue. And I'm going to use my stylus here at around 90%. So this is just a nice kind of brush to draw with, right? And I'm going to zoom in. And I'm going to look for the basic shapes. So what are they? They are circle, oval, square, rectangle, triangle, and then the one that illustrators use, wedge, which is a triangle with its head cut off, but could be made with just 3 triangles, right? And I want to find the biggest use of those shapes. So it's a little bit like your shape exercise. And we're going to trace them. So first of all, I see the head, and it's always good to start characters, especially characters with spines, vertebrates, with the head shape. So Psyduck's head is definitely an oval. And then you have the oval for the hips. Psyduck has huge hips. See those? Then to connect the head with the belly, you have the chest, which is a wedge shape. And I'm drawing through like an X-ray, trying to figure out his anatomy. Then, I'll change colors just so you can see. Then I'm going to show where the shoulder joints are. So that's where the 2 shoulder joints are coming out. And those shoulder joints have to be connected by a collarbone. So that's where his collarbone is. Then I have his hip joints, right? And those have to be connected by the pelvis. But you see the angle. So even though this is a very simple character, it has an angled collarbone, an angled pelvis, and because of that, we know it has a curved spine. Not only does it have a curved spine, that spine goes into a tail, which is a triangle, right? It's kind of a triangle cut out of a ellipse, but we can simplify it. Okay, now, how do I draw the rest of the arm? Well, I want to find the elbows. He does have elbows, and then connect that with the hands. which are little wedges. So we're finding the stick figure. See that? Okay. So it's not tracing so much. I take dark blue and I kind of refine now the muscle around the arms. That helps a little bit and show where the feet are just as wedges and ovals with triangles cut out of them. That helps a little bit. But that tells me most of what I need to know about this creature's anatomy. And if I were to try to find animals to make this creature work, I would find animals that have proportions that work, right? So that could be gerbils with the wedge-like chest, almost no waist space, and a big pelvis, right? Hamsters. And then if you look at the head, we're going to zoom in on that, and I'll do that in orange. You want to find the line between the eyes. Notice I'm not just tracing the eyes, I'm finding the line between the eyes and how it curves around the frame. And then he's got a big bill, which I'll do with green. And yes, some animals have bills, right? But I could use this same thing to make a miniature goat, or make a miniature crocodile, or combine whatever kind of animals I want together. This gives me the skeletal structure. So that's what I call the basic shapes. Now to turn it in for extra credit, all I need you to do is make another layer on top of your background layer, fill it in with white, edit fill white. So it looks like that. And then just take the opacity down about 50% so it looks like tracing paper. So I can see your drawing of the basic shapes on top of your reference. And then you post that to the basic shapes exercise folder in PhotoBucket. It's under exercises, but it's not exercise 1 or 2. It's just the basic shapes exercise. Okay, now I want something similar to that, but my creature is going to have, my fantasy creature is going to have ears. And I want the ears to make a silhouette kind of like this. Right? And instead of the duck bill, I want it to be more like a pig snout. So a little bit more like this, like these ears, that kind of snout. So now I'm in my sketchbook and I'm sketching for assignment 2. And I'm trying to design, there it is, what kind of creature I want to do before I look for any reference. And you don't have to do a wholly original creature. It just has to be a fantasy creature. So if you want to do a certain type of dragon, you're more than welcome to. If you want to do a griffin or a chimera or a minotaur, you're certainly welcome to. If you want to do a unicorn, you're certainly welcome to, but you have to make it enough of a unicorn that you're using 5 different elements. So it's not just a good horse photo with a horn. You're going to make it your own unicorn, right? Like maybe it has the front legs of a lion and the back legs of an antelope and the head of a horse, but the neck of a turtle. I don't know.
Your unicorns actually, no, I mean, they actually have lion tins.
Yeah, unicorn can be whatever you want. Absolutely. I am recording this. So this will help with your sketches. So for the pig snout, instead of that big duck bill, I know where it's going to go because I have that orange line kind of cutting the face in half, you know. And then the eyes, I don't like Psyduck's eyes. I kind of like this kind of shape for eyes more. They're more ominous looking. So I can put the snout in there and the eyes and kind of know where they go. I also know how his belly is facing. So his spine is curving around like that all the way through to a tail. And I like the tail. This guy's looking nice and cute, right? And the silhouette's good, but the arm up isn't working for me. So I'm going to start moving his arm down like this. So I'm going to make my guy a little bit more active looking, because that will be fun for as he's running through whatever setting I put him in. So I can erase this arm. But I'm using the proportions at work. And this is how character designs get created, and then this is how they get used over and over again. And if I change that arm, I might as well change this arm a little bit too, because it's better to have a silhouette that really kind of shows off the character. So it's not great to have things overlapping, like his head being overlapped by his hand. It doesn't always make for the best silhouette. Okay, so I've got my chubby little creature here. I've got a belly that's separate from his chest. So now I'm ready to sketch or ready to take some notes on where I can find different references. So this, I'm thinking bat ears, right? Whether it's inspired by a Pokemon, something else or not, whether you're just coming up with it. The nose, I'm thinking pig nose. I'm really thinking pig head, basically. But the eyes won't be very pig-like. So where could I find some like really interesting, intense eyes? I'm thinking lizard eyes. Maybe crocodile eyes. And you have to do all of this. I think a little crocodile tail would be great. I really like this project because you can blend scales with feathers, with fur, with hide, you know, lots of different textures together. For the feet, I like the idea of these duck feet. And you want at least 5 different references together. Now for the body and for the arms, I'm thinking gerbil. You know, or hamster. Or guinea pig. Did you know that the Incas raised guinea pigs? They had the Inca in South America and Peru. They raised alpaca, llamas, and guinea pigs. So they had whole, you know, farms and livestock. They herded them. It'd be amazing. It's the chicken of the South. All right. So now for the arms, I don't know that I'll be able to find good gerbil arms. So I might have to think about that a little bit. Arms. Like maybe they're going to be bear cubbed. Yeah, that's a good guess. Right? So once you have that, you know, I have at least 6 references, then I can start searching for things. But I know my plan. And I kind of know my pose. And I kind of know my anatomy. So when I start looking for references for assignment 2, I'll build a folder here. Assignment 2 reference. I know where to get started. So how do I look for reference? Just like we did for the landscape, we're going to do a Google image search. And if I'm looking for a pig head, I can search under images, but I want to limit it. I knew that was going to give me some horrific stuff. I can search under images for certain sizes. And for this, we want larger than 8 megapixels. Right? So I don't want really grotesque heads, so I really want kind of maybe piglets, right? Now, this is the tricky part. Not only do I need to find the head, like that's a great snout, great head, I want to find it in roughly the same position that I sketched. And this is roughly the same position. I just have to flip it horizontally, right? But I can collect quite a few different head candidates, right? And move them into my reference folder. As long as they're good quality. And this one is. But notice, it's good quality, but it's out of focus for the ears and behind. But what I really need is that snout and just that head construction. So that's going to work. And then I like to have backups. So I think this one's probably pretty decent. It's clip art, but makes it easy to select.